This is the secret to growing a YouTube channel as fast as you can.
Here, is it easier to grow a channel from 250K to a million or from 0 to 1,000?
0 to 1,000. If you know what you're doing, if you understand YouTube to like a pretty granular level, it's pretty easy to go to 1,000.
So this kind of imposter syndrome kicking sometimes where you think like, oh, can I really help him? Am I really that good?
I have imposter syndrome at least once a week. At least. And like people who say they don't are super stupid or they're lying to you. This might sound weird, but I had a business mentor and he said the most valuable thing you have is...
Welcome back to the 3-1 podcast, and today we take a look behind the curtains because we are talking with the YouTube strategist who helps the biggest creators in the world rack up millions of views, thousands of subscribers, and build real business empires with their YouTube channel. In this episode, we talk about the packaging and all the hacks that really work on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Leroy Ter Braak. Welcome to the 3-1 podcast.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I feel it's almost like a patented thing now that every podcast needs an iPad.
Yeah,
I feel like you're not one of the big podcasters if you don't have the iPad.
There's two rules to it. You need like a Shure SM7B and an iPad. Knows how to do things. Otherwise, like it's just the whole credibility is gone.
Yeah, it's like gone.
Yeah, it's gone. So yeah, we are the podcast like with the highest credibility. Leroy, to start off, I want to talk to you about a crazy story because I want to know what's like the craziest situation that YouTube brought you in.
Okay, so the craziest situation that I can think of right now, that I can talk about without without getting in a lot of trouble, I would say like a recent one is picture around 15 people in a honky-tonk bar in Dallas, Fort Worth, the biggest honky-tonk bar in the world. And these 15 people are some of the biggest creators, entrepreneurs on YouTube. We're all drunk out of our ass. And I remember we met this big YouTuber there, Laserbeam. He was there with his girlfriend. And I was so drunk that the only thing I managed to say to him was, you just got to lock in. Then I proceeded to walk away. I did a split on the dance floor because there was beer all over the floor. So I did the split, fell over, and pretty much fell asleep on the dance floor. And that was in front of billions of views. And luckily, they were all my friends. But This was one of the parties with other YouTube creators where I felt like, yeah, this might have been my lowest point of the year so far.
But like doing the split is not your usual party trick.
Well, I mean, like I don't know if you guys can see my physique, but this is definitely not something my body is designed to do.
Yeah. Well. Are you sometimes like in a room with like those creators and like you're wondering like, wow, how did I get here? Like just a simple guy from the Netherlands, like spending time with the biggest creator on earth?
Well, I mean, yes and no, because like I've been in the YouTube space for so long that I don't see these people like as any different as like you or me or, someone random on the street. But it's more that I have these realizations where I hit like a new milestone for myself and where I realize like, man, like that's where I realize like I'm so grateful that I get to do like what truly is my passion. And ChatGPT keeps telling me like, you need to watch out for burnout. It's like, I can't burn out from something I love. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. I would do this for free. So it's not that I have like that based on people because everyone, doesn't matter how many subscribers you have or how big you are, like, I get to work with the biggest stars even outside of YouTube. We all die.
Yeah.
And we all poop. So it's more like, the moments where I feel like, man, like, when I look at my daughter and I can say like, yeah, daddy's doing what he loves and you're going to do what you love someday. Like that is what makes me like super grateful for it. Yeah.
That's awesome. And if you like, I mean, most people, of course, they don't know, they just know people from kind of like the screens or like the channels. I mean, of course, without spilling too much tea, of course, but like, what is it like to work with those kind of like high profile celebrities?
I mean, like if there's like a common thread or like a pattern that I keep seeing with the most successful people, and successful is like super subjective, right? Like it is, what is success? Is that like views? Is that how much money you make? Like whatever. Like I think success is different for every creator in like a very like nuanced way. But they all are obsessed, like in a specific way. Like they're either obsessed with the craft, they're either obsessed with growth, or both. Sometimes you don't see that a lot, where you have like someone who's super like business savvy and super creative. But I think like the through line with pretty much all of the people that I work with is they have according to normal standards in society, unhealthy obsession with whatever they're doing.
Okay.
And I think that is like the main thing that I keep seeing, and that I can relate to a lot, actually.
And if you now start to work together with like young talent and you see like, okay, a guy coming to you, hey, Leroy, like I want to like launch my YouTube channel. I want to become like, do you have kind of like obsession radar?
Yeah.
That you see like, no, you're never going to be like on this level because you just don't have what it takes.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. And that like sometimes, like honestly, like sometimes it takes a few weeks for me to like kind of gauge that, because it's very hard to understand and differentiate someone who's super enthusiastic about the idea of doing / having something versus someone who doesn't care what it takes. He just like enjoys the process and the grind of getting there.
Yeah.
So sometimes it takes a few weeks for me to like kind of like spend time with someone and be like, okay, now you have your first setback. Let's see how you respond. And someone who makes it, whatever that might mean to them, they tend to like not get faced by setbacks. They just tend to be like, okay, whatever. Like, how can we fix this next time? So I have a lot of people like coming to me like on a monthly basis that want to work with me, and I say no to 99% of people simply because of time constraints. Like, I have a family. Like, I also need to. I want to talk about YouTube all day, every day, but my 3-year-old daughter does not give a flying. Can we curse on this podcast?
Of course.
She doesn't give a shit about YouTube. She likes YouTube Kids, but that's about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think over time you get like better at that. And I invest in people in terms of like, where I don't ask them for any money or compensation back. If I feel like, okay, this kid really has what it takes, and I'll invest time and money and like, my knowledge into you if you promise me that you will not give up.
Yeah.
And I don't expect anything in return, but sometimes it's just cool to like, see someone go from here to there super fast, be like, nice.
Do you have like a specific example of like a creator where you say like, I just helped this guy because he was so passionate and he like exploded or grew like crazy?
Yeah, so maybe like a more recent example, like to keep it on theme, because we're in Amsterdam right now, like a good friend of mine, Jeroen, and online he's known as Chris Takes Off. We met a few years ago and he had a faceless YouTube channel about football. And like I could tell he was obsessed with YouTube. He started working with Kwebbelkop, and then he did his own thing, and then he wanted to start a travel channel, and we became friends along the way. But he said like he wanted to start his travel channel. It's like, okay, I think like you are obsessed enough to actually make this work. So I helped him with his first series on that channel, like grew him to like 10,000 subscribers in a matter of like 2 weeks. And that was like, I didn't ask for any money from him. Like, I didn't want his money, because to me that was a challenge to see like, okay, this guy's like, he's starting from zero on this channel. How fast can we get him monetized, and how fast can we get him like to break out? And I mean, like, yeah, it was 2 weeks, and then he started breaking out like crazy. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How did it start for you, YouTube? Like, were you first a consumer? Were you a creator? Like, how was like your into YouTube?
So like, if we would look at it from a creator standpoint, I started in 2009-ish. That's when I played a lot of Call of Duty, and I was the same like every young guy growing up. I had the toxic idea that everyone wanted to see my Call of Duty gameplay. Nobody wanted to see my Call of Duty gameplay. But it was around 2009, and of course, like before that, I was a consumer. Like, I liked YouTube. It was like a super cool idea to me. Like, wait, some people are making money with making videos in their bedroom. Like, okay, wait, there's something here that I need to understand. So I would say like 2009 is when it really started, but 2012 is when I really when I started seeing like actual success with the videos that I made at the time. But of course, like I've always been a consumer like of YouTube. I still am a big consumer. Like, I work. I'm on YouTube, but when the calls are done for the night, I watch the YouTube channels that I enjoy watching. Like try to like take off the lens of a strategist and just watch the videos that I enjoy. So I would say I've always been a consumer, and in recent years, I could say like it's become a career. Now I can call it a career. I feel like it takes a few years before you can call it a career, but yeah.
Crazy. When I used to work in sports and football, and when like I think now it starts to become less. But when I watched the game, I thought, oh, that's a nice placement of that sponsor. Oh, this is smart how they do it and everything, right? So you start to see the game, but you also say, oh, that's a new sponsor. They're sponsoring like many teams, or maybe a tournament or something. How's that for you? Like when you watch like a YouTube video, can you then like become a viewer, or do you think like, oh, and they didn't keep the retention up this well?
It depends. So it depends a little bit on the channel, and without like trying to throw shade at anyone or anything, but there are definitely channels that take like a patented storytelling framework from another creator, and I can like kind of gauge that within like the first minutes, like, oh, I know where this video is going to go, I know where it's going to end, and that's just not fun for me. Like those videos I always click off because I mean, like if you work in a certain niche, like I've had creators that we made category kings, and then you start seeing other creators like kind of copying your stuff, and when I see that, I'm like super turned off. So nowadays I tend to watch more of the more raw creators. Like I love like the travel guys that just have like the the little camera and just like the DJI and just walk around. I enjoyed that more because there's no real structure to it besides like, okay, I'm in this crazy situation, let's see what happens. But if I would say like more the entertainment niche creators, I just don't enjoy them that much because most of the tricks they use, like we either came up with or we popularized. So it's like, you can't take that lens off. That's impossible.
Because you also understand that it's kind of like a system to keep you engaged, right?
Yeah, of course.
While like if you watch someone with a GoPro or something, it's like more raw. It's like I don't know where the story will go. And it's an interesting paradox, right? That like on the one hand, like you're trying to make people watch more and longer and keep them there, but on the other hand, like you also find this very annoying, right?
I mean, like I think,
or not annoying, but
I mean, like I get what you mean. It's not so much annoying, but I just like I can't enjoy it. But it doesn't mean like I'm a bit older now. Like I'm 32. Like if a video starts like today I'm going to like I'm like calm down. Like I don't. But I also understand the laws of the audience that you try to attract. So like I'm currently building a Roblox channel with a big creator that wants to get into Roblox. And last night I was laying in bed playing Grow a Garden on Roblox. I felt dirty. I'm not gonna lie. Like I felt like I should not be in this game, but I need to understand at least what this game is about. And I understand also like, okay, this is going to attract a younger audience, so you need to understand who you're talking to. And I also have creators that do more of the raw stuff, and that's just like really in their natural, like how they perform best. So it's just understanding like, okay, who are we trying to attract? Like, what is this brand that we're building? So it's just like, if my personal, like what I like watching most is just tends to be a little bit more of the raw stuff. Like I love Peter Santinello, for example, that goes to like rural Michigan and just asks people like how it, what is it to live there? Or he goes to like Ukraine, and it's like, I just enjoy that type of content right now. But a few years back, I could like sit down and watch 20 Mr. Beast videos or Mr. Beast gaming videos and like have a lot of fun, but it just gives me a headache now. I'm getting too old.
Do you think that this kind of content also will have maybe more comeback in the upcoming years?
So YouTube in general, like if you look over all the years, like it's always a pendulum swing, right? So you always see like extremes for a certain type of years, and then like that extreme swings back. So you have like a little bit of the gray area years, and then you have more extreme raw. And I think what a lot of people tend to do with YouTube is they try to generalize everything too much, where it's like, oh, this is the trend on YouTube right now. No, YouTube is too big to have a trend. You will see trends in certain clusters, in certain niches where, like I would say last year was like the comeback of like raw, authentic storytelling, like POV, 23-year-old entrepreneur living his life in Bali.
Shout out to Daniel Dane.
For Daniel, for example. But I would even say like Daniel's like less raw because like, he thinks about his shots and, he has like, the setup and all that stuff. So, like that was a thing. But the problem always with like trends like these, when someone popularizes something, a format, is that people try to copy it. But the problem with copying is that you will always be the Temu version of that initial thing. And trying to force yourself into a certain trend is just, I always say like, listen, this just doesn't fit your personality. You're trying to fit a triangle in a square hole. Like, let's not do this. So in certain clusters, you can say like, things make a comeback, and in gaming, for example, you see other things are making a comeback now. So I think you have to look at it from, cluster of niches versus cluster of niches. But there's not one trend that I see is like huge right now.
What I find really interesting about your personality is like if you look at you from the outside, it's like super unclear like how you got where you are today, because like you are now like really working with like the Champions League, if you want to stay in football terminology, of creators, but like it's very unclear like how you got there. And nowadays everyone calls himself a YouTube strategist. I think every second DM I get on LinkedIn is like, I'm a YouTube strategist and you can improve your channel. How did you get there? Like when was the first time you called yourself a YouTube strategist, and how did you get there?
Well, the only reason I call myself a YouTube strategist is like it's a container word. Like people at least understand what I do.
Yeah.
But I don't really even see myself as a YouTube strategist. Like I'm more of like a right-hand man to certain creators, but that doesn't really sound well in a tagline.
Yeah.
Like it's just like
that sounds weird.
Yeah. So, why do I like, since when I call myself that? Well, I would say like since I got out of my last business that I exited I think that almost 3 years ago now, that's when I really like honed back in like, okay, I just want to do, the YouTube thing full time again. And like I was a YouTube strategist before it was a thing. Like in the 2010s, like I helped my creator friends that were much bigger than me at that time, like, make better videos, and I helped them grow. But the YouTube strategist didn't exist. Like that was definitely not a viable career path back then in the early 2010s. So I realized there is like, okay, this is what I want to do, but wasn't a career yet. And I have ADHD, as you might be able to tell. And if there's one thing that I hate is repetition. Yeah. So I realized like very early on, like I'm just not made to like build a channel and just like do daily uploads myself, because I will go batshit insane at some point because it's just the same thing over and over again. So when I came back, I knew like I would just want to keep working with creators. So I had a little bit of network still from all those years on YouTube, and I worked with big brands on YouTube before I went back to like to the creator side. So I think like 90% of my success has been networking and just getting in contact with old friends again, and just overall, like if there's anything that I say to a lot of people, because I get a lot of questions like, hey man, I want to do what you do, because I don't have the biggest personal brand. Like I have like, I think almost 9,000 followers now on Twitter, and that's my main platform that I just talk on. I have my YouTube channel, but I don't really upload it to it because I just don't have time to even like think about the video. So the only thing that I always say to people, like just generally be a good guy and opportunities will come. Like don't go to a creator, be like, hey, I want to help you. Here's my rates. When I started back out, I help creators for free. It's like, I just want the success case. If you allow me to be able to post about this, like, hey, I helped him from X to Y, perfect. And that's how I started. So a lot of people don't realize it, but the behind the scenes world of YouTube is super, super big in terms of like networking. And if you're just overall a good guy, then people will find you and people will refer you to other creators. And that's been it, nothing crazy, like no secret sauce, just be generally a good guy.
And where did you learn the craft of like, because in the end, like I think that I find always super interesting about YouTube is not like that. I don't know, for example, if you want to become a doctor, like you just go to university, study medicine for 8 years, and then you know most of the things about the body. Yeah. Like, of course, there's evolution and blah, blah, but like at least you understand and you can become a doctor and you can probably heal and help people. But with YouTube, it's like this like ever-evolving like mystery box of an algorithm that is kind of like constantly changing. But like, where did you learn the craft like in the first place? Like, was it then really just, okay, I teamed up with like my friends that were all creators and then we did it together? Or how was like the beginning of kind of YouTube and your career, and basically where did you learn the ins and outs of YouTube?
Yeah, I would say like the biggest difference between like a doctor and what I do is that a doctor can't like perform surgery 5,000 times to see which time the patient doesn't die and be like, oh, this is probably the right way. But that is like how I started out, like from a creator perspective. Like, back in the day, I saw a wall. I was like, I want to get through that wall. So I'm just going to put on a helmet and just run into it 5,000 times until something cracks. And then I probably learn a little bit of, okay, well, I did this, push, or I did that setup. So for me, it was a lot of just repetition on my own, but also with my creator friends, like getting on calls together and figuring like, oh, I had a video that did 50,000 views, and like trying to dissect together, like why did that one like do so much better than the others? And so it's YouTube is literally just like doing something 10,000 times and try to be analytical about the times it worked, but also the times that it flopped completely. And that's it. Like, it's just exposure over and over and over again that gets you to a point where at some point, I would say my gut feeling about certain concepts that I work on with the creators I work with is just more developed because I've just been exposed to it so many times. And the difference maybe between you and me is that I maybe have a little bit more confidence in the just trust me on this one moments that I say to my creators. Like, you know, I tend to think that that's the biggest difference, but I'm not a superhero. Like, I still have flops with the creators I work with where I was super confident that it should have worked. Like, it still happens, but that percentage is just lower than average. And that's why people want to work with me. And yeah.
And then, so basically, your career started then, like, you started to work together with other creators.
Yeah.
You helped them grow their channels, and then, like, kind of like was like word of mouth, like, oh, that Leroy guy, I don't know, he really seems to be understanding, like, YouTube and strategy, and basically that's how you kind of like developed your skill set and your.
Yeah. So like, I mean, there are a ton of strategists that, you know, like are very good at like a certain niche, but I was like very early on, I was like, listen, I have a bunch of experience on the business side of things because, you know, I had to, you know, 2 companies myself and, you know, I've done pretty well for myself. So I don't want to be locked into like, oh, I just work with, I don't know, travel creators or gaming creators or cooking creators. Like, I want to be the guy that can, you know, grow category kings in all niches. So for me, once I, you know, had a few creators that I worked with that I knew had it to become like big in their niche. For me, the biggest thing was when they became the biggest in their niche and people started copying us, and, you know, I could start like talking about like, hey, you know, this guy copied our, that's something that I did I really liked, is when someone copied, like, for example, our hooks bar for bar or packaging bar for bar. I made posts about it. It's like, they copied our stuff 101. Here's why it didn't work for them. And so actually a lot of these creators, like, they DM me, and sometimes first out of ego, they were like kind of like, ow. Yeah. You know, like, I didn't like that. But most of them said, like, you made very valid points. So, you know, and that is like how in certain niches, like, my name started singing around. But the problem is that I don't work with 2 creators in the same niche, because I know a lot of people do, but I just don't. Like, that's a hard rule for me because I feel like I'm cannibalizing my own mind on different creators. Yeah. So I just work with creators that, like, one in that niche, one in that niche, one in that niche. And that's how I try to, like, just keep up with the whole ecosystem of YouTube, like what's working there. You know, maybe we have a viral video here, and I'm like, oh, I think I can translate that concept into that niche that I'm working in with that creator. Yeah. So it's just like this constant cycle of like finding new things that work and adapting them for all the niches, and it's going great so far.
Yeah, really crazy. And when was the first time because okay, let's say you have a couple of early successes, like, when was the first time that like a big creator like knocked on your door and said like, hey, I want to work together with you exclusively and I'm going to pay you for that? Do you know that creator? Like, can you name him? I don't know if it's NDA or not. But I'm
trying to think. Define big.
I don't know. Like, where you said big for yourself, where you said like, whoa, he wants to work together with me. That's crazy. Because like maybe I just started or something.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like, there's definitely a few that I can't name, simply because some of these biggest creators, they you know, put you under NDA. Why? Because they don't want you to use their name as like a leverage or marketing tool. Yeah. And I totally understand it, because there's like bad actors in the space that use it for their own gain, like, you know, the buy my course bros that I don't really like that much. But I'm trying to think like, what's the first one that I feel like that was like big that I can share. I'm so bad at remembering. I should actually get my phone and just look through my YouTube Studio accounts. I think the one that I can talk about is maybe Jeremy Ethier. He's like big in the fitness space, like 7.5 million or 7.4 million subscribers or something. And I got in contact with him through also through Tim, who is the channel director for the Sidemen. So I think that was one where I was like, okay, like this is big. Like I'm running into a machine that's already like functioning really well. Yeah. Because I actually enjoy working more with talent, like small, and getting them up to that point. Like that is just more exciting to me. Because you can never really take credit if you work with someone who is like 7 million, you get them to like 10 million a little bit faster than they would have on their own. It's just less
exciting.
Yeah, it's just less exciting, and you know, this is less impactful for your own like brand, so to say. But I think Jeremy Ethier, I think that's a good one.
And you seem to be a super humble guy.
I'm not, but
You're
I
not.
try to be. It depends.
It depends.
It depends,
sir.
honestly.
Yeah.
I'm very good. Like I try to be as like humble because I'm like, again, I don't like that.
Yeah.
But if I get approached with ego, I will definitely out ego them.
Your Dutch comes out again.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But what I find interesting is like, is there like then a moment also where you kind of feel like such a big creator knocks on your door and he has this huge channel, like running machine. I mean, I don't know this creator personally, but like probably he has merch and products and all this kind of stuff. And then is there like also this kind of imposter syndrome kicking sometimes where you think like, oh, can I really help him? Am I really that good?
I have imposter syndrome at least once a week. At least. And like people who say they don't are super stupid or they're lying to you. Like I just don't believe that there's anyone in the world in their right mind that has success, that doesn't have moments where it's like, shit, like, was it all luck so far? And I have that once a week simply because, I work with, I'm counting it up in my head, I think 11 channels a week, that I work with. So you have weeks where, from the 11 channels, we upload with 4 channels. And of the 4 uploads we do in different niches, 2 or 3 are like not doing well, like they're performing average or below average. Then I'm laying in bed and I'm thinking like, man, was it all luck so far? And then sometimes, you talk to like other strategists, like I have a few that I'm like really good friends with or creators in the space. And, you talk yourself out of it. It's like we all have bad weeks. And it's like, okay, yeah. Like, okay, I shouldn't, like, like social media isn't real. Sometimes you have to just like remind yourself of that. But I've done a lot. I'm insecure about, when I have a bad week for sure. And if you don't, then I think it's bound to like at some point all come crashing down. If you have so much belief in yourself that everything you do should like turn into gold, then I think there's a very steep decline at some point because you're going to make a mistake. And I try to like be very aware of like, I'm not God. I'm not, I'm not special. I'm not any better than you. But the only moment where I out ego someone is when I feel like, okay, you're trying to like,
come in.
Then I'll play that game.
Yeah.
But no, dude, 100%. Yeah.
And is your daughter like help? Because of course your daughter is now 3 years old.
Yeah.
So you got her when you were 29, but then you still had like, let's say 10 years where you were like just alone with your probably like a girlfriend or wife or
now wife. Yeah.
Does she help you with this kind of like process also when you're like doubting yourself or when you're like, oh, it's, am I really that good? That you have like this counterpart that really doesn't care about like, because she has no connection, right?
Yeah.
It's just like either you play with me or we do something cool if we go somewhere or not. Does it help you or does it give you more pressure?
I would say it actually, like it doesn't give me more pressure, but I give myself more pressure because of it. Because like I'm the breadwinner of the house. My wife worked throughout our whole relationship until I think February this year, where she stopped working because we are planning to move to the US, so didn't really make sense to like start looking for another gig for her. So it was just. I feel more pressure now because I want to show my daughter, like, I come from a one-parent household on welfare, like I didn't have, things that in my youth that were like, super cool or whatever. Like we just kind of survived and that was it. So I put the pressure on myself. It's not like she gives me that pressure, but I put that pressure on myself. And I don't really talk to my wife about work a lot because I really try to like keep that separate. And of course, like sometimes it bleeds over when something really cool happens or, that I'm proud to tell or, I have a shitty week, then she can tell.
Yeah.
But I try to not like, and this is not the right mindset to do, but this is how I do it. But I try to not burden my wife with like, the insecurities I have about my work. So I try to keep that with, the creator friends I have. And some of the people that I work with became very good friends of me over time. Like JJ from the Golden Kobe family is one of those examples. I grew him from 30,000 subscribers to we hit 500,000 subscribers yesterday. And I started working with him in September of last year. So it was like under a year we've done that. And we became super good friends over that period of time.
Yeah.
And these kind of things I tend to talk more to those guys too. And again, like I'm not saying this is a good thing. I'm not saying that you should do this, but I try to keep the anxiety that I have away from my wife, so she can be my rock, my silent place, where it's like, don't try to help me, like I will figure it out, but just scratch my back a little bit. Let me just chill out.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. Talking about imposter syndrome and when things don't go right, did you ever have a case where, I don't know, you did a nice packaging, like, I don't know, the good strategy, the creator was enthusiastic as hell, but it just didn't work?
Oh, of course. I've had that more than once. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And like, how does this happen? Or like, why do you think this can still happen? Because like, if you believe like kind of like the common like myths that are out there, is like, if you keep on going, if you keep on uploading, you will grow, you will do it. And then like you have those cases where it probably never happens.
Yeah, so I can give a few examples of this. Like a very recent example, like as recent as of yesterday, I work with a big documentary creator on YouTube, and we were working on a big script about, I can say the title, doesn't really matter, the real reason why Elon Musk hates Sam Altman. And there's like weeks of research into the script. Like the guys just started working on the actual pre-production of it, like besides the script. And literally yesterday, Magnates Media, who's another like huge business creator, comes out with pretty much the same video with 70 to 80% overlapping information. Like that is one of those examples that like you can kind of bin it. But we've also had examples of this where you make that video, and around the same time, a competitor creator makes the same thing, and you're just like you're just too late. You're 2 days too late, and like the idea was great, but market timing was just crap. And like that is one of the big reasons that happens, where we think we have an innovative idea or something that hasn't been, like an angle that hasn't been done before yet, and by the time you upload, like that, it's just saturated. Sometimes the turnaround is just too long. But I also had creators that I worked with, especially entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs still tend to think of YouTube as a side gig. It's like, it would be nice to like show my life, or talk about my winning strategy for, I don't know, Facebook ads. It's like, YouTube is not a side gig. Like if you want to succeed on YouTube and you want to make that your main funnel, you need to treat it as your main job. And actually, your business becomes your second job. That's kind of how it works. And I've had creators, entrepreneurs who just weren't like 100% in it, and then it's just really, really hard to like grow them like to a significant point. So I've had people like that as well, where I just at some point said like, listen, this is not really going anywhere for you, and I don't want to waste my time, and I don't want to waste your money on me. So if you are really serious about this, just go on, like what to do now. We've worked together for a few months. Go do it for a few months, and if you still want to work together, come back. So that happens. Like again, like I'm not God. I don't have like the golden touch or something.
Yeah.
Like some people just I don't gel with them. That's like my main criterion now. It's like if I get on a call with someone, or someone wants to work, I always do like an introductory call. I don't sell them anything. I just want to like, who are you? Like, can I say certain words around you without you being triggered, because I'm pretty like, unfiltered.
Yeah.
Especially to Americans, like they don't understand Dutch people at all. So I just like kind of want to figure out like, does our energy match? And if it matches, then 90% of times like it becomes a success, whatever that means. But especially like earlier on, I was less strict with that. And then sometimes you just get into creator dynamic relationships that just doesn't work.
Because you just said also that like you find it that some creators just don't really understand like how like YouTube works, or they don't want to understand. What would you say then is like one thing that most creators don't understand about YouTube that you want to wish them that they would understand?
I think the biggest one is people want to get into YouTube and they look at a big creator in whatever that may be. So it might be Ryan Trahan, and you get like a guy who's like 42 who's like, I want to make those videos, and they don't understand that why Ryan Trahan's content works so well is because it's really like genuine to him. And of course it's like an enlarged version of his like real personality, but he's not playing something he's not. And I think that's the biggest thing that I see going wrong with creators. They're like, I want to be like that person, or I want to like make a channel like that person. Like if you start off doing that, most cases you will fail because you're going to try to like mold yourself or mimic yourself into something that you're not. And viewers are really, really good at spotting that.
Yeah.
Even if they don't, like, they're not able to like say that out loud, the viewers, they know when they watch someone if they're genuine or not. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, do not try to be something you're not or try to fit yourself in a mold. Like, it just doesn't work out most of the time.
No. I did one time the course of Casey Neistat, like his video course. And for me,
was it good, actually?
It was so good, but it's just like, I think there's raw talent and then there's skills that are transferable, right?
Yeah.
And he tried to say like, I want to make this as applicable as possible. And I'm just going to use my phone. I'm not going to use any fancy camera. I'm just going to use my iPhone that everyone has. And I'm going to create a YouTube video from my iPhone telling a story about, I think it was the fake bags that are sold in some avenue in New York.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one, yeah.
But I think the recording part and all this kind of stuff, like you would say like, okay, you kind of can maybe replicate this. But also there, he already had some 2 or 3 funny interactions that he just used for his video and his intro and stuff like this, where you think like, I probably would have never had this interaction, which is like, that's pure talent.
Yeah.
And then while he was editing, he was choosing the music and all those kind of parts of it. And then first he chose some music and he said, yeah, I think that works. He played the song. Yeah, I think that works. And then all of a sudden, like literally like in the middle of the video, he said like, wait one moment. And then like just took another song. Oh, I have an idea. And he took another song, which was like so suitable for like this whole sequence. Yeah. And then the intro and everything was so perfectly timed and sick and on the beat and everything. And then it was like this typical Casey Neistat video.
Yeah.
And that, for example, was a part where I was like, you can never replicate it because you would have chosen that first song probably, maybe even a verse song. Yeah. And the whole video wouldn't have made any sense because just of the music and the sound design of it. And that I found interesting because it was super nice to see, but basically it was more like a documentary about a crazy guy with a crazy talent, and you could kind of look over his shoulder. But to really learn like the craft of creating like Casey Neistat, that was not easy.
That's why I'm not a huge fan of like courses and stuff like that. You know, like a course can work to a certain extent where I feel you can give someone the information like, okay, listen, this is how the algorithm works. This is how you should tell stories. This is why, you know, the psychology behind packaging. But actually, between that and execution is still a huge gap. Like, I can give you all the information you need, but I can guarantee you from all the people that watch all my podcasts or, like, you know, have all my info or, like, all the newsletters, 10% of that will, quote unquote, make it. Whatever make it might be for them, right? More people will be able to make money with YouTube, but make it, in my opinion, is like whatever goal they set out for themselves. Like, they aimed for Mars and they landed on the moon, right? And that is where I think you need to have like that thing. I have people as well, like strategists who are in my DMs, and I can't name names, but like some people ask, like, you know, how do you get like, you know, all the creators you work with? It's like, you know, how do you do cold outreach? I was like, I've never done cold outreach a day in my life. Everyone I work with comes to me either directly or indirectly, because I guess I'm just very good at like being a nice guy and like reading people. Like, okay, I think with you, I can say this, and oh, you would like that joke, or you're a little bit more like this. I think I'm good at that, and that translates, luckily, very well to like knowing what type of video our audience wants to watch, and that's definitely a talent. Like, I cannot even take credit for that because it's just in me somewhere. Like, it's of course it's a skill that I've sharpened over the years, but I think it's, you know, like saying like, oh, you know, I got a Casey Neistat course, so now I can make videos like Casey Neistat. No, because the difference is exactly what you say. It's in these like tiny moments where someone is like, okay, I have an idea. Like, that is the difference between me and Casey Neistat and you and Casey Neistat, that he has more of those moments than you and I have when it comes to like making a video just with your phone and making an interesting story.
Yeah.
So I think like this space needs a rinse in that sense of, you know, if you see a YouTuber or one of these gurus like flaunting a lifestyle, is like, you know, this is what you can make with YouTube Faceless, just unfollow them immediately. If it's an ad, just say, I don't want to see this anymore, because they're selling you a pipe dream.
Yeah, that's for sure. And if people want to work with a YouTube strategist, I mean, maybe not with you because you're very, very busy, but maybe with you as well. But like, what are the things to like look out for? Like, what are the kind of red flags that you say, like, if you are serious about working with YouTube strategists, if you have some budget, if you want to spend it, like what to look for?
First and foremost, most important thing, verifiable results. With verifiable, I mean, if they say they helped a creator from A to B, reach out to that creator and ask that creator, like, listen, to talking to this guy or girl, did he or she actually like help you, and what was your experience working with them? That's the most important thing, because people can say a lot, and I've seen this in the space, like sadly a lot. Like this is one of the reasons, like I worked with, not even really sure if I can say this, but I helped the lead ideation team for Mr. Beast, and he's now ex-Mr. Beast because he went on to bigger things, doing other things. Mr. Beast at some point started implementing, listen, if you work for me, like in my company, like it's a hard NDA. Like because a lot of people that maybe, you know, like pointed a camera at something at some point, used it as like a marketing tool for them. Like, you know, worked with Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
You know, and they maybe, I don't know, like they maybe hung up that picture. Right? Like that's it. Like they were just on set for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So like, sadly, that's a big problem in our space where people take credit for stuff that they shouldn't take credit for. And I've also seen strategists taking credit for things that isn't even true. I can't say the name again, but someone who took credit for something they did for the Sidemen, for the charity match. And, you know, like I know the channel director of the Sidemen like pretty well, Tim, also a German guy. You would like him. I'll introduce you to Tim. And like seeing that is like, I think the most important thing, if you're a creator and you feel like you need help with whatever that may be, vet them. Like actually you need to vet them. Because if I look at like the space now, like that is a big problem. And if you find a strategist online that is saying a lot of like, you know, sounds like they know what they're doing, but they never share like verifiable results in terms of like, you know, oh, hey, your video yesterday is 1 out of 10, or, you know, we hit 1 million subs last week, whatever. If there's nothing that's verifiable, I would never work with someone like that, because they are 99% likely just regurgitating advice that they've seen elsewhere.
Yeah.
But they don't have skin in the game of, you know, building a channel over several years, because that's a very different game than starting a channel, having a few videos that do well, and, you know, that's kind of it.
Yeah. Awesome. I think that's really helpful tips, because I mean, there's, of course, like in every industry, there's so many like cowboys.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
You know,
for sure. Yeah.
Just like, I mean, and it's so difficult, as you said, like there's, you know, they post the screenshots of the channels, and you're like, is it photoshopped? Is it real? Is it a real channel?
Yeah.
So it's very hard to verify, and sometimes also very hard to verify, because like, to get through like a management of like the Sideman or a Mr. Beast, to get even an answer, it's sometimes quite difficult as well, right? So it's not easy, I think, but I think those are some good tips. I want to talk to you a little bit about one of your favorite topics, like growing small creators. I think you're really passionate about it. Starting off with, what do you think is easier? Is it easier to grow a channel from 250K to 1 million, or from 0 to 1,000?
0 to 1,000, 100%. Yeah. Because if you know what you're doing, if you understand YouTube to like a pretty granular level, and what it takes to get a creator started up, it's pretty easy to go to 1,000. I would say like I can do that with pretty much anyone. Like that's not that hard. Getting someone from 250K to 1 million, then you get in the territory of optimizing systems, and you get to in a territory of how can we take a format and milk it more? And that's pretty much like how YouTube works nowadays. Like knowing, you know, you upload 5 videos in different formats, and the one format that does well, you keep innovating on. You keep like, you know, repeating it pretty much. So that is like harder, because a lot of people get stuck around that point. You know, like I've seen many creators who grew a channel to 200,000 subs, or 150,000, or 300,000, sometimes even 1 million. And I talked to them, and they actually surprised me, like, oh, you really have no idea what you're doing. Like, you really got here by just pure luck.
Yeah.
Like, it's possible to get to 1 million subscribers with luck.
Yeah.
It's definitely possible. But most people get stuck around, you know, 100 to 250, and then they feel like, okay, I'm not growing anymore. Like, you know, they've tapped out whatever well they had, and now they need to innovate. And that's just something that's very problematic for most. So
yeah. Shout out to the hack tour girl.
exactly. Yeah, don't get into crypto. No. That's the main thing.
Let's make this super practical. I'm a creator, 0 budget, no strategist, no editor. What's like the 3 non-negotiables I should focus on?
Ideas. So spend a lot of time on researching, use a tool, for example, like 1 of 10 is a great tool. Oh, you have zero budget. Wait, in that case, just use old school YouTube. Just look at creators in and around your niche, depending on what niche are you in? Let's make it more specific. Come up with something juicy.
Something juicy. In what niche am I in? Yoga.
Yoga, okay. I can see you in a yoga pants. Yeah, okay.
I can do a split as well.
Yeah, really? Yeah? Oh, you can do it on purpose. Okay, yeah, I can.
I can do the party split with you.
Exactly. Okay, so you're in yoga. So what I would do is do a lot of research into adjacent niches. So fitness, meditation, really start looking for creators that had big outlier videos. So videos that, let's say outperformed their average view count 2 to 10x. Really start assembling those in a document and trying to figure out can I take some of these ideas and repurpose them and do them in yoga. It might be I saw one recently. What's the title again of the Asian or the Japanese secret to a long life or something like that? Might want to switch into the Japanese secret into this yoga technique, and then have a thumbnail of a specific pose that you do. And maybe, the red circle is improves blood flow. I don't know, just pulling it out of my butt right now. Just an idea. Really focus on ideas and obsess over the hook. What is the first 30 seconds that they're going to get from you? Everything after that, you will get better at over time, because you get to, if you upload a lot, you'll get to see retention charts. You get to see what type of language makes people stop watching. Ideas. And for my framework is really focusing on the ideas, the data afterwards, and then an analysis about the whole niche that you're in. Just do that and do it 100 times, 100 videos. If you're not seeing any growth after 100 videos, you're missing a part of my framework. It's called the ideal framework. You're missing a part. And then it's you really need to go look into yourself and be am I just doing this for the wrong reasons? Am I not, taking hints that I'm, am I just stubborn and not doing what I should be doing? But if you obsess over ideas, if you obsess over the hooks and the packaging, it's just a matter of when, not if.
Yeah. And also I think being willing to change fast as well, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people that I think I did as myself as well, that I had one thing and then I was just stuck for too long, that you say okay, why do I still have then this boring ass intro for 18 episodes, even though that I see that I have a huge drop off, so maybe we have to change that.
Yeah.
And I think that's something, that I only start to do myself, in the past, I don't know, couple of episodes. So it's why did I never change that, but your conversation can be super cool, but when your first 30 seconds are super boring animation, people will probably drop off.
Yeah, so another big thing actually that you just gave me an idea that I did early on as well. Try to get in communities with other creators, and doesn't matter what niches, join Discord servers, try to find places where creators same size as you or a little bit bigger talk to each other, because you might have not kept this intro for as long as you did if you were daily surrounded daily with other people who are oh, I just optimized this and it did that. You would have probably gotten nearly oh, fuck, I should probably change that intro thing. Because I can already imagine, because of, all the years of exposure to YouTube, is yeah, you probably should have good trailers. You should probably have the moment, the first moment of your trailer for an episode like this is where I sit forward. It's okay, this is the secret to growing a YouTube channel as fast as you can. That should be the first line in your trailer for this episode, because people are if they see oh, the YouTube Strategist or hundreds of millions of views, whatever you want to do, that confirms the click. Nobody wants to look at you hey, my name is Marcus, please subscribe to this channel, last week I had this. People don't care. New viewers don't care about you. They have hundreds of other videos available to them at that moment in time. So doing getting into these creator communities and learning from other people's failures will expedite your process significantly.
Yeah, awesome. What are some of the myths that you see that are not true at all?
My favorite one, you've probably gotten this either on LinkedIn or through email or whatever, is hello sir, I help you better CEO for your channel. You need better SEO. You need better because better SEO, more views. Nonsense. If anyone emails you that, spam. Don't believe that. 10 years ago, 12 years ago, yes. Nowadays, SEO is not important at all. And that's like one of the biggest myths that still people who just don't know still fall for. And they like pay, like a few $100s a month to an SEO person who just puts in tags, and tries to think about like, okay, what do I need to put in the title? Like, it's not an SEO machine anymore. YouTube has become really, really smart. And you could put in 90% of the videos that we upload have no tags at all, unless it's something for a misspelling or whatever. Like people misspell a word, like our name a lot, then we put it in tags just to like 1% faster discoverability than YouTube figures out themselves. But that's the main thing. And another thing is like you don't have to upload 7 million times a week to grow. You can also just shoot more targeted if you have like good confidence in your ability to create videos that people want to watch. And another big one that I keep seeing, especially with beginner creators, is, the algorithm doesn't like me, or, I'm shadow banned. 90% of times, it's not true. You just make videos that nobody cares about. I'm sorry. It's harsh, but it's the truth.
the Dutch is back again.
Yeah. A lot of American creators, I always say, like when I start working with them, I tell them, like, listen, I'm from the Netherlands. We're direct, and according to US people, a lot of the times not very nice. I just want to preface that. I have that gene. So sometimes I might just say something that is not very American of me,
Yeah.
One of the favorite things that an American creator once said to me is like, what a lot of people say in the US when they don't like something is they say, oh, that's interesting. Yeah. I just say like, no, that's horrible. No, we're not putting that out. It's horrible.
It's an interesting idea. Let's circle back on.
Yeah. Oh, let's put a pin in it and we can sidebar that. Like, no, this is horrible. Like, don't waste my time.
Yeah. And last question for the let's say small creators. What's the kind of like the biggest growth lever on YouTube right now that not a lot of people leverage?
The biggest lever right now. I mean, there's not really like we had a moment in time where YouTube was really focusing on like live and live streams and stuff like that. I definitely think that's not like YouTube has pretty much like dropped the ball on that one quite heavily. I still think they need to do a way better job there. But if you're a faceless creator, for example, like live streams can be still really interesting to do if you want to make money. But right now, I would say like, don't focus on like the hacks or the things that work now. Focus on the main thing that is the most important thing right now, and that is ideas. Just, if you spend an hour a week on coming up with ideas for your videos, start spending 5 hours a week on it. I'd much rather have you spend, if you have 100% of your time that you can spend on your channel, I'd much rather see you spend 70% on the idea and the rest, between execution, editing, et cetera, That is the biggest growth lever because it's becoming harder and harder to come up with something that is somewhat unique. But if you really think about the idea, like, okay, how can I tell this story? You make a Google Doc and really go through like, okay, these are going to be the story beats and that. That is the biggest lever to catapult your channel for sure.
Awesome. If you sometimes look at the numbers and the success that a channel has and they get their play button and everyone is happy and they earn millions of euros with their channel.
Yeah.
Do you sometimes wish you would get more credit for that?
I mean, yes and no. And I think the nuance here is that most of the people that I work with, like over several years, they become good friends and they give me the credit that, they think I deserve. And that's sometimes even more than I would say, I deserve credit for. But you definitely also have creators that, try to like keep it all to themselves. And there's a reason for that. Like I have a testimonial of a creator I worked with, and he started his testimonial with like, I really don't want to make this video because I don't want to give away my secret weapon. So it's sometimes like, I understand, like they don't want, like if I'm a big part of why they grew faster, they don't want to tell the world that because they're afraid that, maybe a competitor comes to me. And Although I tell them, like, listen, if we work together, we work together. That's it. Like, you can't buy me with money. I've said no to a few very, very big job offers in just this year for big creators in the US simply because I'm like, no, like, it doesn't excite me. I don't care about the money. But I think that's a big reason why sometimes I don't get the credit I deserve, but I understand it. And if I feel I don't get the credit I deserve because they just want to, be that guy or that girl, I'm very fast at like just removing them from my roster. It's like, okay, you like to use me, but you don't like to, give me my flowers every now and then. And I'm just very big on that. I do the same thing for the creators I work with. Like, man, I helped a little bit with this, but they are really like the reason why we're doing so well.
Do you think that also the future of collaborations in this space will be more based on kind of like a normal company structure, right? So let's say you come in as a strategist, and then instead of just getting like a fee, you get like shares of like future profits, right? Because like if you look at all the creator brands and how everything is evolving, if you grow from, I don't know, 10K to 1 million, it becomes a creator brand with like a huge infrastructure of merch and products and all this kind of stuff, which then also become really interesting for you as a, let's say, business owner. Do you think that's kind of, or is that something that you would get weak, that if someone would offer you, for example, instead of, hey, we work together just like on a fee basis, I give you 30% of everything that we own ever on our channel?
Well, I actually have a few of those deals right now. So like, I mean, I take that, but I only take it when I've worked with someone for a prolonged period of time. And I know, like, for me, the biggest gauge is like, would I enjoy having a drink with this person in real life and, have a great night with that person? Like, if that is the case and I feel like, we're becoming friends. A good example of this is JJ from the Golden Kobe family that I talked about a little bit earlier. I started as just a strategist. He took a huge risk on me. He could barely afford me. Made like 10, 12,000 in a month. Now we've 10x that. I'm a co-founder of a brand that we're building off the back of the channel, but we're business partners now. But I only do that with creators where I feel like, okay, this is a long-term thing. Like I could see myself getting to rough times with this person. Instead of that being the breaking point, I try to treat it as like, every relationship, we have to really like first get to know each other. And if I feel like, okay, we had a bad week and, there's no pointing fingers and, there's like, we're just like in solve mode, that's when I would take that. But I've also had, I've had offers like some of the top entrepreneur YouTubers in the world that say like, I want to have you like 250,000 a year plus bonuses and everything is like, that doesn't excite me. So then I just say no. But if I am really enjoying working with someone, I've had creators that had bad months that they were like, man, I don't know if I can pay you this month. Like, don't worry about it. Like, you don't have to pay me. Like, it's fine. We'll figure it out. It's all good. And those people tend to end up, becoming business partners in some capacity. So I have like 3 creators that I work with in that capacity right now. And I think it will become more and more normal. But I also do think like most YouTube strategists are that are in the space right now, they're like up and coming. They don't like I've built businesses since I've been 18. Like I've been around the block. Like I've had 40 people staff, and I've done all that. So I have something to offer. And I think if you're a young strategist, sure, take like a revenue percentage off the channel if it makes sense, and you're a big part of why it's running so well. But I wouldn't advise anyone getting into the business side of things if you've never done that before. You're just setting yourself up for a very hard time.
Yeah, I can imagine. What I find also interesting is that you did something that I think not a lot of YouTube strategists would ever do. Like
God, this can go anyway.
being
what did you find? Being
on that level that you were at is like starting a YouTube channel from scratch again.
Yeah.
And I think that's also how I found you. I think you had like literally 12 subscribers, I think. And I thought, oh, this is an interesting experiment. I'm gonna check it out. And then you had like 24 subscribers and 200, and 1 month passed, and you did vlogs and experiments and breakdowns and everything. And I thought like, oh, I mean, he's not really growing. So I was like, that's kind of counterproductive for his brand, right? Hey, I help you to grow, but you cannot grow your own channel because, of course, which I also don't agree with this argument, by the way. But of course, for the brand, it can become dangerous. And then I think 3 months later, I checked and you had like 70,000 subscribers. I'm like, damn, he did it again. Why did you do that? Was it kind of like to prove a point to yourself, or was it just like a fun exercise to do for you, or like?
So at first it was a fun exercise, but also like I have this urge to, at some point, like I need to make something myself again, right? Like I feel like every time like I'm helping, you know, the people I work with to like for them to make their videos, and I don't envy them in whatever way. Like for example, JJ that I just talked about, you know, like he rescues dogs and his house is full of dogs every single week. I love animals, but like this, like it's a lifestyle, right? Like that, it's not his job, it's his life. So I don't envy him like for having to go through that. But every now and then I just have that urge to create something myself. And I actually made one mistake that I should have clocked earlier with that channel, is that I just wanted to share like what I know. You know, like I've had great success growing channels. Like, you know, I've had big brands like reaching out to me. I worked with the biggest names in the world. And I just wanted to like give that information that I know that I've built over the years for free to the world. But I made one critical thinking mistake in that early moment where you found me around that time, is that if you want a channel to grow and do well, you need to dumb down the information to a point where you actually feel like you're giving nothing anymore. And I know that because I do that with the entrepreneurs I work with, for example. You know, like, hey, your information needs to be super accessible. Like, we can't use any fancy words. Like, it needs to be grade 6, like, level stuff, because that's where the entry point is for most people. And I wanted to build more of a niche, like, creator audience. But I also knew, it was like, okay, if I built that audience, like, most people don't think further than 1 + 1 = 2, right? So if I would build a channel for 4,000 subscribers, then people be like, well, if you can even grow your own channel. You know, and I saw those comments as well. I was like, yeah, but I'm not trying to make this a huge channel. I'm trying to make this a channel for the people that are a bit further along, that are already creating on YouTube, that are already monetized, that, you know, have growth, but they're looking at the details. I'm not trying to like teach you how to throw a ball. I'm trying to teach you how to spot routes better, or, you know, like how to be quicker in a pivot moment that you have to pivot. Like, that's what I wanted to do. But then I realized, like, yeah, indeed, it can be counterproductive to the brand. But I didn't care at that point, right? Like, I was already, like, full. Like, I couldn't do anything more. And it was just, for me, like, a fun experiment. And then at some point, I just thought, like, I want to focus a little bit more on, like, the strategy behind some channels that I find interesting and dissect them, instead of, like, going the normal route of, like, you know, just texting them or whatever. Be like, hey, why did you do this or that? Like, I went outsider perspective and just dissected it myself. And that's when the channel started doing really well, because, you know, then you bank on the name of a certain creator. And if then the value in the video is really good and it's accessible for any creator of any level, then, you know, that's when it starts doing well. And I know that. But, you know, in the beginning, I just I followed my passion a little bit too much. And that's a problem that a lot of people have. But it was a good reminder for myself again. Like, it's easier. Like, a plumber's roof always leaks, and it's super easy to be detached of an outcome and help someone else. But that's why, like, every now and then I need to, like, step back into the creator role myself to clock my own hypocrisy almost. So I actually right now, like, I'm working on starting another channel that I'm not going to share anywhere in terms of my network, that is just about, like, the move to the US as a European. Cultural differences, you know, like the visa stuff, like the journey. Just starting that to, like, for my daughter to see, like, when she's older, like, whoa, dad really did that. Like, okay, then kind of like to inspire my daughter. I don't give a shit if it gets 1 million views or 4. Like, I really don't. That's also why I don't share it anywhere. It's just like, you know, if someone finds it, they find it. But, you know, that's, like, for me, another creative project that I can do on the side, and that's what I enjoy, and that's fine.
It's also what we discussed briefly before the episode, right? That, like, we also live in a world that it's so difficult to just do something for fun. It always needs to be, like, super connected. Yeah. I did, like, a DJ course recently just because for fun, right? Yeah. But then I immediately had this urge of thinking, like, oh, maybe I should do, like, a Instagram channel, like, you know, from zero to maybe, like, having 1 DJ gig, or like, you know, immediately, like, this, oh, I need to the journey, I need to document it, I need to show it. And then I think, like, Yeah, I actually don't. No, actually, maybe you just have to have to have fun and no outcome, just like a hobby.
Yeah.
And I think that we don't really have anymore so much with.
No, but it's also because of optics, right? Like, I mean, if you would, in our space at least, and that is because you have so many like bad actors or people that are doing it for completely wrong reasons. You wouldn't. If Messi decided to play in a Sunday league team on the side, nobody would be like, well, you can't even play in a big league, so you're not good. Like, they see the track records, like Messi, right? And in our space, like, there's a lot more scrutiny because of the bad actors in the space. And if my whole brand is like, I help the next generation of YouTube stars, or I create the next generation of YouTube stars, and my own channel is struggling, then a lot of people that are not actually a good client fit for me because they don't understand YouTube. Like, I work with, for example, a real estate channel that has 6,000 subscribers. I started with them from zero, but they make over $100,000 a month just from the channel. And people would look at that channel that don't understand you, they'd be like, only 6,000 subscribers, that's not big. It's like, no, but I don't care about the views we get. I care about the quality of the views I get on that channel. And that's way different than working with an entertainment creator. So it is like, sometimes that like comments can get to you where you're like, man, like you just don't understand how YouTube works. Like, I'm just trying to build like a niche cult audience here. I don't care about getting 1 million views, but I mean, people do like kind of rate me on that, and they're like, well, if you can't get views on your own stuff, why should I trust you to get views on my stuff? And then I always say the same things, like, we're not going to be a match. Even if I would get like 5 million views on a video for myself, no, I wouldn't want to work with you because you don't understand YouTube to like what it actually is.
Yeah, and you don't understand your values of working together with
exactly
them, right? So
and that's also why when other big strategists over the years like reach out to me, like, how do you work with these people, that people, like, what's your cold outreach stuff? Like, I don't do cold outreach because it sets up the wrong expectations from the beginning. If I reach out to a creator, be like, hey, I can help you with your channel or XYZ, first and foremost, I feel dirty doing that. I just do not like that whole approach. It also sets up the wrong expectation because that creator is going to be way more like a hawk on certain deliverables than someone who comes to me and is like, hey, I think I can learn a lot from you. Can you help me? They will understand my value is not in like doing this and now you're viral, because going viral means nothing. They understand like, hey, if he works with me over 6 months or a year of, I will slowly build up a floor that is way more valuable than, oh, I have one video with 5 million views. Like, okay, good. Like, good birthday story, but that's about it.
Yeah, exactly. You just talked about like that you've been an entrepreneur for many years, that you started your first business when you were 18.
Yeah.
If you would now look back to the 18-year-old Leroy, what advice would you give him?
What would I think take it seriously and work on your personal brand earlier. Don't waste time not working on your personal brand. I think that's the biggest thing. If I would have started like working on my personal brand earlier, it would have opened certain doors way faster. I think a personal brand is one of the most powerful things that any human, doesn't matter what you do, but it's one of the most powerful things that you can build because it's yours and nobody can take it away from you if you take it off platform.
Yeah. That's good advice for everyone listening, I think.
I hope so.
Build today.
So. Yeah, no, but like start putting yourself out there. Like anyone in the world has something they're better at than 90% of the world population. And I've had conversations with people like, I'm 31 years old. I feel like a piece of shit. I still live with my parents. I've achieved nothing. I'm dead-end job. It's like, okay, but everyone has an unfair advantage, even you. So then I start talking with them. It's like, I had this actually happen. This guy was like, I'm a piece of shit. I don't have an unfair advantage. I don't know what to make my channel about. It's like, what do you do? Like, in your day-to-day, like besides work? Like, I don't know, just play video games and sleep, smoke weed. It's like, okay. What games do you play? Oh, I have like 20,000 hours in WoW. I'm not like World of Warcraft. I'm not proud of it. It's like, well, that's an unfair advantage. Yeah. You probably know more about World of Warcraft and certain, like, I don't know, I've never played it because I'm super afraid I get addicted to it, but like you probably know like more about certain builds than most people in the world. That's an unfair advantage. And you can build a personal brand around that, and if someone is watching or listening to this, like, well, the only thing that I know is physical therapy. There's a lot of people on YouTube, physical therapists, that make a shit ton of money with the knowledge they have. So everyone can build a personal brand about something that they're passionate about. Doesn't matter if it's model trains, if it's history, if it's, there's something. And just that's the main thing that I've sometimes like kicked myself for, like, man, I should just like talk more about my passion earlier publicly.
So lean into your unfair advantage from an early stage and build a personal brand.
Yeah.
Awesome. What's the best business advice you ever received?
I think the business advice that to say like that changed me like from what I was to now. This might sound weird, but I had a business mentor, and he said the most valuable thing you have is time, and that also counts for people around you. So treat time as the most valuable currency you have, and have the respect to do that with other people as well. So always be on time. If you're not on time, you better have a damn good reason to not be on time. So that is the most valuable thing. If I look at like, I was always late when I was younger because, ADHD, like I was always like up until like 3 a.m. and then had to be in the office at 9, and I came in at like 10, like completely lost. It was like, I'm sorry, I was late last night. That has definitely changed, and also changed me in a way where if someone doesn't respect my time, I have a zero tolerance policy. If someone is 10 minutes late on their first call with me, I will not respond to your text anymore. I will not even entertain, because you do not respect the most valuable currency I have, and then vice versa. So I think that is the most impactful thing for me. I am still very late to birthday parties and stuff. If people are not waiting for me, I'm still late. Yeah. I don't give a crap. Like, I will come an hour later. It's like, oh, people don't care if I'm there or not. But when it comes to work, I always try to be on time.
What's the best business advice you've given?
That.
100% that. So you just
because like, ultimately, like, I don't think there's like universal like laws that apply to business where you could say like, yeah, of course, like try to be, have an offer where there's like supply and demand, like this is good and in your favor. Like, of course, but everyone knows that. But I think the highest leverage thing that you can have and do over a long period of time, besides just showing up every day, is just like value your time and understand that that is the only currency you have that you will never get back. So the fact that we're sitting here now together, this moment, like this, we will never get back. When I'm 90, I don't want to look, hopefully, get to that point. Like, I don't want to look back and be like, man, I really spent like 20 years doing something that I didn't really enjoy, or I didn't find interesting, or that didn't really make my heart beat any faster. We're all just doing something, man. We're just winging it. Everyone's just winging it. Like, some people pretend like they know what they're doing, but we all have no clue what the fuck we're doing. Yeah. So, treat time as, the most valuable currency you have, and things will work out.
Awesome. Let's go to the final. No, before we go to the final first question, like what's next for you? Like, what are the next couple of years gonna bring? I know there's like a hopefully exciting move to the US standing in front of the door. But where do you want to take the business? Where do you want to like grow with your family? Take us along.
The biggest thing that is coming, if everything goes well, if my visa gets approved soon, is of course the move to the US, like literally to the other side of the world, to Texas. That is the biggest thing that's coming up right now. That's took a lot of my time over the past months to get ready. I am writing a book, releasing it next year. It's about the ideal framework, the framework that I coined, that I made, that helped me grow channels from zero to superstars like fast. So that's a big thing. I've always wanted to be a best-selling author. I don't know why. It's like one of those side quests. Yeah. So I have like a great publisher helping me like achieving that goal. That's big. And I've always said, like, I'm 32 now. I always said, like, I look in like 10-year increments in my life. I want to do what I do now and exactly what I do now until I'm 40. And then I'm just going to reevaluate. Like, am I still enjoying myself? Like, does the business side still make sense? Like, I don't want to... I've thought about like maybe doing more like group cohorts. I just don't really enjoy that. I've done it once now, and it's just not really my thing. I just like the one-on-one time with people more. So, I'm very aware that I'm hitting a ceiling right now and like how much I can do, because, I have, the same amount of time as everyone else in a week. So, having these deals with like some of my best friends where, I'm like actually a co-founder in the YouTube brand, will help me scale further financially, but I don't really care. Like if I would be at the exact same point in terms of like what I earn right now in 5 years, I would be very happy.
Yeah.
I would be very happy. Like
I think it's only going to be more from now. So I doubt that.
I don't
that
know.
You will
I don't know,
stay like this.
It's not one of It's not one of the things that I'm really looking at. Like, okay, how can I improve? My yearly income. Like, I'm living very comfortably. Like, I don't have to stress about money ever. Like that's wealth.
Yeah.
I don't care about more money just brings more problems. Like, I don't want to have the opportunity to buy a yacht because that is just the worst investment ever. So I'm trying to stay under that.
Yeah.
It's like, just if I can have a nice car, if my family can eat, and I don't have to think about, buying something, then that's good for me.
Doing a split from time to time on the dance floor, and then life is good.
Yeah, and being able to get medical care after that for whatever you rip off in your knee or whatever. That for sure, yeah.
Awesome. I ask every guest 3 final questions. The first one is, what are you not good at right now that you want to become better at?
My diet. I'm a fat fuck. That's it.
His words, not mine.
My words. My words. Look at the visual. You see? No, definitely my diet. Like, getting my diet under control. Like,
okay.
That's the biggest thing right now. I work out a lot. Like, I love martial arts. Like, I kickbox a lot. But I make very bad decisions at 1 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
Suitable also for the book topic. What would you name this chapter of your life?
This chapter of my life. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good question. I like that one. The Renaissance.
The Renaissance, nice. We never had that in a podcast so far.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, if you had the chance to send an SMS to all mobile phones in the world, what would you say?
Time is the most valuable currency you have.
Time is the most valuable currency you have. Leroy, thank you so much for coming to the 301 podcast. It was a really amazing conversation about many cool things about all things YouTube strategy. I think a lot of creators that are listening, that I know that are listening, they're going to be very, very happy about the tips. If they want to work with you, they can see all the accounts linked, of course, in the description of your YouTube channel, of your Instagram, your LinkedIn, that you not use many times, but I still reached out on LinkedIn, so it did work. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for spreading so much joy and wisdom here. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
And for you, it's now time to subscribe to the 301 podcast, because still over 80% are not subscribed. So come on, guys. Subscribe to the podcast, and we see each other in another episode of the 301 podcast.
Over 80%?
Over 80%.
You need to subscribe now. If you don't subscribe, I will find your channel, and I will make sure that YouTube doesn't push it anymore. So subscribe now to his channel. Now. Perfect. Awesome. Thanks so much, man. Much appreciated, man.